Rocket is launched vertically upward from the ground with an initial velocity of 256 feet per second. The height of the rocket in feet after t seconds is given by this function. So if you were to plug in a value for t, it'd tell us how high the rocket is, 20 feet, 700 feet, etc. So when is the rocket at a height of 1,024 feet? No calculus here. This is a function that tells us a height, so you just plug in 1,024 feet in for s of t, and then solve that like you would a normal quadratic. I think you can divide everything by 16, and I'm looking at t squared. That's the thing I like to reduce. I'm going to divide everything by negative 16 because I like to keep the leading coefficient positive. I think after all these years teaching math, I know 1,024 divided by 16 comes up so much. But that's negative 64 equals t squared minus, because I'm dividing everything by negative 16. You don't have to do that. And then it's quadratic, so we like them set equal to 0. Makes it way easier to solve. So I had to add 64 to both sides. And that's something I can factor. What is that? 8 times 8 makes 64? Yeah. So the two numbers I need are t minus 8 and t minus 8. And because that multiplies to make this up here, that's two numbers that multiply to be positive 64 but add up to be negative 16. So I think that's it. You can just jump right to the conclusion. T equals 8. So when is the rocket at 1,024 feet? We just found out 8 seconds into the launch. This question asks us how long the object's in the air, and it's a quadratic, and if the leading coefficient's negative, it's going to make this shape. So what we really want to know is when this ball is positive, when it's above ground, and we're going to assume it's not. It doesn't, like, this function doesn't work when s would be negative, because that would mean the potato would be below the ground. So we want to find out where s of t equals 0. So no calculus needed here. You just need to plug in 0 in for s of t. So to solve that quadratic, we're going to factor negative 16 out of everything. And now that's not factorable. Wait, it's because I can't factor it. I can't divide 36 by 16. Can at least divide everything by 2, by 4, by 8. No, it can't divide by 8. So 4 is the biggest thing I can factor out of everything. Um, 64 divided by 4, 16. That's a minus 9 in the back. So that's what I've got to factor. Or use the quadratic formula. But to factor this, I'd multiply the first and the last coefficients. Makes negative 36. So I need two numbers that multiply to make negative 36 but add to be negative 16. How about 12 fits into it? 3 times? No, that won't work. 36 divided by 8. No, 36 divided by 9. That makes 13. No. I just did that one. I don't know. Maybe this isn't factorable. Maybe you have to use the quadratic formula. Unless I copied something down wrong. Doesn't look like it. Did I do something wrong? 36. No, that's 9. 4 divided by 4. Second guessing everything. Two numbers that multiply to be negative 36 but add up to be negative 16. Yeah, I missed it here. It's negative 18 and positive 2 are the numbers we need, because that multiplies to make negative 36 and that adds up to be negative 16. Probably if you're watching this video, you already paused it and you started doing the quadratic formula, and that's okay. Either one. So factoring by grouping now, I can factor out a 2t out of this first one, so that leaves me with 2t minus 9, and I can factor out a 1 out of the next one. That's the biggest thing, 2t minus 9. So now finishing factoring by grouping, I factor out the parentheses that's in common between those two terms inside the parentheses. And I'm left with 2t plus 1 in the parentheses on the other side. Sorry, my t's are starting to look like plus signs. Okay, so now we just need to finish solving the quadratic. And when you do that, you set each factored piece equal to 0. So 9 over 2 is the first one. And negative 1/2 is the second one. So the time that it's in the air, it started at time negative, well, now that's probably the launching height. So I'm going to assume it's t equals 0 is when we started, because if you back it up to negative 1/2, it's probably just because of the launching height. So it starts at t equals 0 and ends at 9 over 2.